Hey everyone, welcome back to the bench. And in this basic skills video, I thought we'd look at eye loops. What's an eye loop, I hear you say? That's an eye loop. One of the most basic wire skills you should learn from the beginning. And I believe it's a discipline. Learn how to make them absolutely perfect each time. And that discipline will carry on through the rest of your work as you develop as a wire wrapper. Because it's such a simple thing, the eye loop. It's there mainly for earrings. That's where it mainly comes up. But it will pop up some point in your work. But I think it gets overlooked by a lot of people. And I notice this. Like I go to a craft fair and I'm looking around, especially at the earrings. And I hate to say it, the first thing I look at is the eye loops, and are they all the same size? And especially within the earrings themselves. And if they're not, I walk on to the next person as well. Because if you can't get your eye loops perfect and you can't be bothered to make them all the same size, the rest of your work down the line is not going to be perfect, is it? You're not going to be spot on with your measurements and things like that, because it comes down to the simple thing of an eye loop being the perfect discipline for a beginner. So let me quickly show you how to make a basic eye loop. Right, before we get started, let's have our usual tool talk here about what tools I'm going to be using today. So I'm going to be using some round nose pliers, bell pliers, flush cutters, flat nose chain nose, Sharpie marker pen, metal ruler, and the wire gauge we shall be using today is just 18 gauge, which is 1mm. The main tools for today really is your round nose. I don't expect you to have a pair of bell pliers in your arsenal just yet, especially this size as well, very, very tiny. But I wanted to use them later on in the demonstration just to show you how I would prefer to use these over these when making eye loops. But I know everybody's going to have a pair of these in their box, so we're going to start off with those. Right, let me show you how to make an eye loop. Right, how to make an eye loop. So grab myself a random bit of wire here, 18 gauge, 1mm. Before I get started, I'm going to make sure I flush cut my ends here. You can see I've got a point here, which I explained all in the last video. So I'm going to come in, nice right angle, flush cut that end, get a nice clean finish on it. And I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I'm going to grip the wire. I'm going to come down by about nearly a centimetre, and I'm going to grip the wire in there, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to run my finger down here. Now, what I'm looking for, if I can feel any wire sticking up, I know I'm going to have a little bit of a flat bit in my loop, so I can't feel any wire. Brilliant. I'm going to start bending around. And be careful when you grip with these pliers that you don't grip too hard. They have a tendency to dent the wire, especially copper, because copper's quite soft. So bend it all around. There we go. Until you've created like a letter P. That's so. So this is where I like to swap over to my chain nose pliers, and I will place them inside like so. You see that there? Oh, let me grab that. So I'm going to place them just on the inside of the loop, like so, and then I'm going to kink it. And basically you're creating like a lollipop, a loop on top of the lollipop. You can even just close that up if you wish to, just to tighten it up as well. So that's it. That's a basic eye loop. Simple. Very simple idea. Now, the next trick is how do I make them all the exact same size? Especially when I'm just making what we would call like an eye pin. Something like this is now referred to as an eye pin in the beading industry. So how do I make them all the same size? So there's a really good trick here. This is where the Sharpie pen comes in. Take your round nose pliers. Get your pen, draw a line where you like to make your eye loops, like that. Now, just follow that line every time. Flush cut. There you go. Run my finger down. Can't feel any wires sticking up. Now roll over. and kink it. Perfect. Now let's cut these in half and then we can have a look at them. Not far off. But yeah, that's what you need to do. To keep them all when just making some eye pins, something like that. Just draw a line on your round nose pliers and your eye loops will be exactly the same size every time. Brilliant. The next stage in eye loops would be something like this. You'll be making some earrings and you need to make sure that the eye loops are all exactly the same size at the top. So how do you do it from this way? Instead of making the eye loops first, well, you could always make the eye loops first and then measure your spirals and spiral up. But also you could be in a position where you want to come from the other way. So what do we need to do to make sure that we get all the same sizes? So again, making sure you've got a mark on your round nose pliers. But here is where I would often use some bell pliers because you're getting much more of a perfect measurement every time. Don't get me wrong, that's going to do you proud having a mark there. It's going to do you proud having a mark there. But bell pliers will be the exact same size every time. You could move around a little bit. That's just me being really picky on being very precise. But yeah, up to you. But I recommend at some point, especially if you're in the game of selling and making lots of earrings, get yourself a pair of bell pliers. Do you proud. So for this quick demonstration, I'm just going to use those. So going back to the earrings, we now need to put an eye loop on top of these and make sure they're the same size. So before we make that, we need to make a dummy eye loop. So grabbing a spare piece of wire. As I say, I'm going to use the bell pliers here as a demo. Same thing again, I'm going to place the wire in, run my finger down, make sure there's no wire sticking out so I don't get a flat bit and just bend round. No different than the round nose pliers. Take that out and again using my chain nose. The reason I like to use my chain nose here, again I'll just remind you, is that these can make a mark. You can put them in, there's nothing wrong with using them, but you'll find if you look very closely you'll see that these can dent the wire quite easily. There you go, just see that? That was a quick pinch and you can just, yeah, you can see that on the camera, just a little dent there. So that's why I use my chain nose again for doing this. So into the side of the loop just there and then kink. There we go. So what would we need to do next? Grab your ruler. Now we need to cut this off. I'm going to cut this off just by the neck there. See that? I'm going to go to close-up cam. See that there? That's where I'm going to cut it, right by the neck. Leaving myself just a loop and just a small portion of the neck, not too much. Now taking our ruler, getting that ready, and using your flat nose and your chain nose, straighten it out. And then all we need to do is measure it. There we go. Now it's looking to be about 12 mil, 12.5 mil. So I now know to make an eye loop with my bell pliers, with the side of the bell pliers, it takes 12.5 mil of wire. I can get my earring and then measuring up from the bead, making sure it's nice and tucked in tight there. Measuring up, cut down to 12.5. I'm going to go down to, there we go, just over 12.5. Perfect. Actually, it's more near 13, but that one. Then again, running my fingers down, making sure no wire is sticking up. Roll down towards the bead. All the way to down there. and then again placing the kink in. Not looking too bad. Let's do the other one. Let's match them up. Again, measuring down from the bead. 12.5. Barrel pliers. Run my finger down. Make sure no wires sticking up. Roll down towards the bead. Like so. Maybe tidy up a quick second. And then place the kink in. Like so. That's a little bit. Let's tighten that up just a touch. There we go. I'm happy. I now have 2 eye loops that are pretty much the same size. So consistency, really. It comes down to consistency. Whenever you're making something like this, consistency goes a long way. So that's what you're aiming for. 2 eye loops. Now I would position these a little bit better. I'll turn them on their side a little bit. Perfect. There you go. So they hang like that. There you go. That's how to perfect an eye loop. There you go, everyone. That's how to perfect an eye loop. Now I know it seems like a very basic skill to learn, but I really mean it. It's one of the most basic foundational skills in wire, all wire, that if you can perfect the eye loop, and I mean perfect it across your work so they're all the same size, that discipline will carry on into the rest of your work down the line. And your work, you'll be better for it as well. So I know it seems simple. I know it's again, it's one of those things that gets overlooked. But for me, when I teach, it's like the number one thing I teach is the eye loop from the start. And then everything else comes really easy after that as well. So yeah, thank you very much for joining me in this video. Just a reminder, please like and subscribe if you like this. And if you want to see more of these free workshop videos from me, please come on over to Patreon and support me there. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me. It's been really good fun doing eye loops. I haven't done them for a long time, and I haven't even made a pair of earrings for a long time. So this is the first time in, quite a few years. Yeah, thank you for joining me. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. To support this channel and help me keep making more videos, please come on over to join my Patreon, where you'll get early access to all my videos, free downloads of my books and tutorials, and entries into my giveaways and more.